My name is Andrew Daniel. I am the director at the Center for Somatic Development and the author of this book, Awaken to Your True Self, Why You're Still Stuck, and How to Break Through. Today, we are going to be doing some somatic meditation. If this is your first time, let me know. If this is a repeat, if you're a reoccurring person here, let me know here in the comments. And if you are new or reoccurring, it's going to help me see how we're going to tailor our session to today. Oftentimes we get a lot of new people in, so we spend some time going over some of the concepts before we hop in. Repeat offender. Welcome, Kyla, first time. Reoccurring person. Persons of reoccurring attendance. All right, we do got a bunch of new people. Wow. Recurring. Okay, great. What about a recurring, first time, second time? You really enjoyed last time? Great, wonderful. All right. There's a good mix, Teresa. Back at me? Back at me? Wonderful. All right. Well, we will go over, how about this? While I am sharing what somatic meditation is and what this work is, for the new guys and gals, if this is not your first time, why don't you think about something you may want to focus on? Something in your life, something in your body. It does not have to be a physical thing. What is the length of your practice, please? We will go for about an hour. The meditation itself will be probably about 20 minutes, but with discussion before and after, it'll probably be about an hour. You are welcome. If you come in late or you can't make the whole thing, we will have this and all sessions recorded as replays, and you'll be able to hop on my replays channel on YouTube and catch the replay if you can't make the whole thing. But if you can, I highly suggest it because you'll be able to ask questions and have a discussion afterwards. So, if this is not your first time, think of something while I'm sharing what somatic meditation is and what we'll be doing that you want to work on. And I'll kind of feel the energy out and see what we'll do one on. We'll play. We'll explore here on the spot. This will be tailored to you today. All right, so what is somatic meditation? Well, I always like to start off with what regular meditation is and what this is not. Oops, Mira says, the video is lagging for you. It's much later than sound. Oops, how's this, everybody? Movement, mouth and movement. Speaking, mouth and movement. Working? Okay, all right. Well, thanks, Mira. It might be you, it seems. Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. What a very helpful group of people. Thank you very much. So I like to start with what regular meditation is and what makes this different. So typically most people approach meditation as a way to get still and quiet through the mind, right? It's mindfulness. If you get even further down the line, it's mindlessness, right? It's an emptying of the mind rather than a filling of the mind. And there's also other forms of meditation that can get highly specialized. Maybe it's breathing, maybe it's in a particular modality. And then there's also just meditating on a concept. And in the mystery school work, this is one of the very powerful and primary purposes of meditation, is to go into that silence and stillness, into that void, to reconnect into that primordial source, and like a fishhook, wait until intuition bites. So that is one of the very powerful ways to do meditation. However, the way most people I find in the West approach meditation, just basic meditation, is trying to stop the mind with the mind. It involves a lot of thinking or a lot of trying not to think. What makes somatitation, that's a new word, somatitation. Hey, that's actually somatitation. Hey, I'm going to trademark that. What makes somatic meditation different is that rather than using the mind to stop the mind, or rather than trying to not mind the mind, just like sometimes we attempt to stop the ego with more ego, or to tell the ego is bad, what we do is not use the mind at all. We get out of our head and into our body. And so we use stillness and movement. I know that seems paradoxical or contradictory, but we use stillness and movement to drop out of our head and get into our body. So we find that silence. We find that connection and awareness with ourself through the body rather than the head. That's the gist of it. Makes sense? So what we do here is a very basic, approachable form of somatic meditation that will allow you to begin this process of getting back into your body. And through being in your body, you will, by default, be less in your head and be less heady, less overanalyzing, less anxious, less hyperanalytical, less threat assessing. All of that stuff is the result of being in your head and out of your body. So, any of your reoccurring persons come up with anything that you would like to explore or work on today? Any of you new folks want to let me know if you have any questions, and then we will get into it. We will start doing some movement. A slight headache. All right. Connecting with others, grounding, connecting. Okay. All right, so we got a theme starting to come here. Connecting. Okay. Nothing on your end. Okay. All right. Well, let's go with connecting. That started to see, a certain pattern here. Okay. So, this was going to be a little fun. We're going to do 2 parts. This will be a 2-parter. And the first part will be just some grounding, connecting to ourselves, getting in our body. And then the second part, we're going to work with an object. So I want you to take a minute here so we don't interrupt the meditation. Find something, anything in the room around you that you can ideally hold, something that's holdable. If not, and if you don't want to hold, you can just find an object around you. Make sure it's an inanimate object, not a person. A person is not an object. If you picked a person, you're in trouble. So find an object. If you are more advanced, find something that you don't want to connect with. Find something in your room that you may despise, that you hate, that you judge, that you think is ugly, that you think is dumb, uncomfortable, whatever it is. If you want to do the advanced version of this, find something that you would rather not connect to or hold or touch, and pick that. So I'll give you a few seconds to do that. Just pick anything. Don't overthink it. And then we're going to take a few breaths and get into the somatic meditation. And then after the meditation, we will close with a few breaths. And then you may leave if you would like, or I highly recommend you stay for the Q&A and discussion afterwards. That's where often a lot of the juice comes from. You get to hear other people's experience. You get to ask me questions. And I start going into things and seeing what really happened, what all of that was really about. It's like doing a psychedelic and having integration afterwards. It's very, very important to integrate what it is that happened. It's not a deal breaker, but if you can, you'll get a lot from it, even if it's just from what other people experienced. All right? Let's go. All right, get comfortable. You can stand, sit, or lie down for this. It is up to you. I will be sitting. And let's go. All right, so 3 breaths. In through the nose, hold for a moment, and out through the mouth. Bring your attention to your body. Bring your attention to your physicality. If thoughts come in, just let them come in and just reconnect to your body. Bring as much awareness and attention as you can into the physicality of your body. This does not require anything magical or any special abilities. Just bring your awareness, your attention. Your attention is one of the most powerful resources you have. You've heard this before. Energy goes where attention goes. Right? So just bring your attention to your body. Feel your hands. And you can feel your hands internally, or you can literally feel your hands. All right, so this is one of those kind of tricky things. Am I just feeling them? Because I can just go here and feel my hands. I can just feel them. Or I can literally, muscly feel, rub my hands. Oftentimes, we are referring to simply feeling them inside of ourselves. However, physically connecting and touching is a fantastic way to bring our awareness to that part of the body, to turn it on, to activate it. Not arouse, although that can be quite fun, but to turn on, to activate. So see if you can find the parts of your body that are not turned on, that you can't feel, right? That you can't feel internally. Maybe it's your forearm. Okay? And if you can find these places where you can't find them internally, right? Your internal map of your body. We have an internal map of our body where we go internally to bring our attention to those parts of our body. When we're babies, our nervous system is learning how to map our body to our current incarnation, really, to our environment, to the culture, to our habitat. You know, are we going to crawl? Are we going to walk? Are we going to run? Are we going to jump? And so, ideally, we have this mapped, and it's mapped accurately. If not, you would say, all right, move my right elbow, but your left one moves. This is connected to coordination in athletics, right? You can get your body to do what you want it to do. Here is a bit more subtle. We're trying to access through feeling parts of our body. So find these places in your body that you just really can't bring your internal awareness to. And then just tap them. You can tap them, you can rub them, you can lightly massage them. Tap them, rub them, a little squeeze, give a little massage. So this is a really good way to connect with these disconnected parts of ourselves. You just do that for a few moments. And then pause and see if you can now bring your awareness and attention to that part of your body. So this isn't magical, right? You're stimulating the nerves, right? All of your physical, biomechanical, your nervous system, you're stimulating that to turn on those circuits in your brain, in your nervous system. So you tap, tap, tap. And then you try to bring your energy, bring your attention, awareness to that same part of your body without having to tap it. So we're just going to do this for a few minutes. So you can tune me out if you would like, and just spend a few minutes connecting with these parts of your body that you have trouble connecting to internally. Now, you may experience stories, judgments, emotions. Things might pop up as you do this. Right? Maybe you're doing this, and like me, you got really skinny, tiny wrists. And maybe your whole life, you've judged those. And so maybe you don't want to pay attention to these wrists. You just want to ignore them. Well, maybe that judgment comes up for you. Maybe you got sausage fingers and you don't want to be in your fingers because you're judging them for being sausagey. I don't. I have little whatever kind of fingers. Bacon fingers. I don't know. Salad carrot. Oh, that reminds me there was this old YouTube, very bizarre cartoon. I think it was salad fingers, salad hands or something. Darina says, oh my God, a guy told me he was insecure about his wrists. And I was like, what? Your wrists? People pay attention to wrists? Yeah, I guess. So if you have any of these in your body, right, that may be a reason why you disconnected from them. And so those judgments, those stories, maybe memories will come up as you start tuning into them. That is not only okay, that is wonderful, even if it feels awful, because you're starting to reconnect and regain access to these parts of yourself that you may have abandoned, avoided, ignored, bypassed. And so our muscular system, our nervous system, compensates for all of this stuff. If you disconnect one of your muscles, one of your parts of your body, you don't even realize you're doing it, right? Another one's going to compensate for it. And so you're going to have all of these compensations in your body, which, as weird as it sounds, will in some way translate to other compensations in your life. And make sure you explore your whole body, right? So go down into your belly, into your core, to your hips, right? A lot of people do not connect to their hips in our culture, right? It's all sensual, creative, sexual. There's all this prude and puritanical and perverted and, well, that's all the P words. All these kind of energies and stories wrapped up around our sexuality and our sensuality and our creativity, all that stuff. So for most people in the West, that don't dance, that don't move, that aren't in their bodies, that are in their head, this whole area is shut down. It's just unaccessible, very stiff. You've heard these concepts. Oh, you dance. It just feels, you're just so stiff while you dance because we're out of relationship and we have these blocks and stories that prevent us from opening, from relaxing and surrendering and letting that vitality and life force flow through these areas. So we just want to explore maybe your knees, maybe your ankles, your feet. Remember, just give them a little tap, give them a little rub, a little squeeze. Just bring some blood flow, bring some stimulation, bring some attention to these parts of your body that you feel disconnected from. And if any of this stuff comes up, just make note. Don't try to solve it. Don't try to fix it or figure it out. Just say, oh, yeah, I really judged this part of myself. Oh, yeah, I'm terrified of being in my pelvis. Oh, my hips are super tight. Oh, my elbow's ugly. Whatever it is for you. Your face, right? Turn on all the parts of your face. Oh, you come into your cheeks, forehead. What about this little area? Just connect with these parts of your body that on the normal day-to-day basis you've plugged out of. DM says, appreciate all parts of your body and connect with each part with care. That's great. It's even more in the future. What I mean by that is that's a really good place you want to get to. But what happens if you can't appreciate? Right? What happens if you don't really want to care about these parts of yourself? Well, don't even worry about it yet. Just connect to them. So that is something that I think is a wonderful invitation. And what if you're not there? That's okay. Right? What if, I don't appreciate this pinky toe. That's fine. Connect with it. Is it there? Just bring it back, right? So if you got these family members you just throw it on the street, you just abandon, just bring them back. You don't have to like them. You don't even have to be nice to them. They don't have to be nice to you yet. Yet. Keyword yet. We don't even want to get into any of these judgments or expectations or requirements or shoulds or shouldn'ts. We're just simply being with what is. Okay, great. So, what we're going to do next in part 2 of this, after you have explored these parts of yourself, just connected to the disconnected parts, part 2 of connection that I would like to explore here is with something around you. So bring into your field of view and your field of awareness that object you picked. All right. Do you have it? Great. So all you're going to do is connect to it. And this is all you're going to do. Just connect with this object. Don't worry about anything else. Just connect with this. Yeah. But what do you mean by connect? How do I connect? Oh. Exactly. So be aware now what you're feeling. What does this connection feel like? What does it look like? Does it involve something physical? Does it involve something emotional, mental, energetic? Is it far? Is it close? Does it matter? Are you touching it? Are you not touching it? Do you have to touch it? Do you not want to touch it? Be aware of any judgments, right? If you're doing the more advanced one of something you don't want to connect with, what are all of the judgments? What are all of the stories? What are all of the things that are coming up connecting with something that you don't want to connect with? What does connecting mean? What do you make connecting with something mean? What are the implications? Does connection come with an agenda? Does connection come with obligation and requirements? Is there martyrdom? Is there self-abandonment? Are you unable to connect? Do you feel isolated and lonely? Remember, you do not need to figure any of this out or fix it or understand it. Just be aware. Just report the details of what you are experiencing. All right? Make sure you're in your body. This is not a heady mental exercise. This is an embodied connection. Do you normally just connect through words and intellect? Right? Is that how you connect with people? Just through high intellectual conversation? And avoid feeling and emotions, and any physicality at all costs. Do you prefer one way or the other? All right, so what I want you to do now is switch roles. I want you to imagine that you are the object. And I want you to imagine you're the object looking back at yourself. So I want you to be this object and connect to you. And notice what you feel. Notice what you see. All of the things that I suggested you pay attention to, do the same for this. As the object, try to connect with you as a person. What do you see? Does this person want to be connected with? Are they accessible? Are they avoiding intimacy? Are they afraid of intimacy? Do they have shame, guilt? Are they happy? Are they joyous? Are they inviting? Do you feel used, unappreciated as an object? How do you feel as this object in this person's life? There's a bunch of things to think about, feel into, explore. But better to feel into those things than be in your head about them. So I'll give you a few minutes just to sit with this. Or be with this and explore in this exploration. All right. Now, switch back. Let that go. You're back. You're back as you now. Now that you have done that, what's different, if anything, as you connect to this object again? So have that same object and connect with this. What is your relationship? What is the relationship between this object and you in this object? Has anything changed? Do you feel more connected or less connected? We have a few extra minutes here, so let's do a little bonus round. Want to do a bonus round? I don't have no idea what this is going to be like, but let's try it. So let's combine them both. Let's go into our body and knowing the parts that we could easily bring awareness to and the parts of ourselves that we were disconnected from. Let's have you connect from those parts to the object. So rather than you as a whole, what is it like to connect, right, this forearm with my lip balm? Maybe you touch it. Maybe they have a dialogue. Whatever connecting is to you. If anything, it should maybe feel really weird and bizarre and foreign. If that's the case, that's actually a really good thing. Because it did. For me, like, what? It's not going to make any sense, folks. This is not a rational process. This is not supposed to make sense. We're working in a symbolic, below conscious level. It's the embodied experience. It's the feeling that's the most important here. It's nothing to do with my forearm and my lip balm. There's something deeper going on. So I'll give you another few minutes to explore this. See what it's like having your connected parts connecting with something, and then also having your disconnected parts connecting with something. You may find and experience differences between different sides of your body. The masculine aspects, the yang aspects, and the feminine, the yin aspects. Yes, so the right side of your body is going to be the yang, the masculine principle, and the left side is the yin, the feminine principle. All right, great. So, I'll give you a few moments here to wrap that up, and then we will take a few breaths and end the meditation and go into Q&A and discussion for about 10 minutes. All right, 3 deep breaths. All right, well, thank you, everybody. If you want to hop out now, thank you for joining us. My name is Andrew Daniel, and we'll be here next week. You can check this replay here, not here, but on YouTube. Be sure to follow me here, and we'll see you then. Otherwise, if you're going to stick around, please share your experiences. So what did you learn? What was going on? What were the parts of yourself that you could connect to and that you couldn't connect to? What were any of the stories that came up for you, or judgments, or feelings, or emotions? What was it like to connect with another object? Did you feel disconnected? Were you able to? Were you unable to? What was your definition of connecting? What was your somatic definition of connection? Because we may think connecting is one thing in our head, but when we go to actually connect with something, we may discover, like I think Darina says, connection to her means closeness. So she brought it close to her and hugged it. And what was it like when you switched roles, when you were the object trying to connect with you, yourself? And then lastly, when you were connecting the disconnected and connected parts of yourself to the object, what was that experience like? So you don't have to do that all at once, but just share bits of that as we go. So just answer one or two of those questions and then send it out so we can have a conversation going. And as I'm talking, you can send in some more of your comments, your questions. Yvonne said, connected with nature, a mandarin in your pocket. Oh, mandarins sound good. I'll connect with a mandarin and eat it. Now you got me wanting some citrus. So as you guys are but as you guys are sending in your comments, one of the really fascinating things about Somatics, as I mentioned earlier, I'm the director at the Center for Somatic Development, where this whole philosophy and approach comes from. So somatic meditation is a very gentle introductory practice of what the advanced work that we do in Somatics is like. And one of the really fascinating and powerful aspects of this work that I alluded to about what your definition of connecting is somatically is that when I work with clients doing somatic archetype work, one of the really fascinating things that we discover is that our definitions of everything is not only based on a dictionary sort of mental definition, but also a somatic one. Our body represents these things in a certain way, and it's unique for everybody. And there are patterns, there are things that show up in the way that we define these things with our body, how we embody them between ourselves and through everyone, through all cultures. So archetypes are these primary symbolic representations that go beyond time and culture and language. Right? The healer or doctor archetype shows up in all cultures. The teacher, giving, receiving. These things show up all throughout time, whatever language, culture, race, creed. Now, there's ways of doing these things that work, that are functional, right? And ways that are not. And using somatics, we can discover, for example, if your somatic definition of connecting is accurate or not, if it's functional or not, if there's actually manipulation or an agenda or a martyrdom or a rescuing or codependence or fear or generosity, right? So we get to actually discover through the body how you actually manifest and show up in the world with all of these various concepts. And that could be life-changing to discover that how you've been trying to connect to others and the world around you might be very different than the reality of how you've actually been doing it. And having that on video, the cine, as in cinema, in cinesomatics, allows you to see for yourself, oh my gosh, my idea of connecting might be punching somebody. You're connecting your fist to them. But that's probably going to create a lot of pain and suffering for yourself and others in your life. And so that translates metaphorically and symbolically into your life. You know, people that think tough love is their only way of showing love because that's how they grew up, and perhaps they're terrified of real intimacy. And so they're going to find that only connecting and loving through violence and tough love is creating some pain and suffering in their life. and they might not have any idea because that's what they grew up with. That's all they know. And so through this somatic process, through something like cinesomatics, they're able to discover and see for themselves, oh my gosh, the way I thought I was connecting actually doesn't look like that at all. And so this is something for people that have struggled with not getting the results they feel they should be getting in their life, whether it's through money, income, career, whether it's through health, whether it's through their relationships, their spiritual practice. Something like cinesomatics lets you see for yourself the truth of how you're representing these things in your body and in your life. And so this somatic meditation that we did provided you an opportunity to kind of get a sense of, how do you define connection, right? Maybe connecting for you means something else than somebody else. And so that's okay. It's perfectly fine that it's different as long as it's still accurate, right? There's probably 10,000 different ways to make money, but as long as all of them are actually making money rather than losing money or stealing money or destroying money or spending money, whatever it is, as long as it actually is the thing, it's fine. And that's going to have a similar thread how everybody does it, right? So this is where the subjective and objective meet. In a lot of sort of, I don't really know how to classify it, but there's some of this more, I guess you could call it New Age philosophy. I don't know specifically how you would classify this. But generally this idea that subjective reality is the only thing. That's just not true. It's just not real. People that only live in a subjective reality tend to be in a lot of suffering. People that also dismiss the subjective experience and only think an objective reality exists also struggle. It's understanding we all have our own subjective way of experiencing reality. But at the core of that is a fundamental reality. If there's a fire in front of us and 5 people think there's a fire and 2 people think it's a refrigerator, there's going to be some problems. There's going to be some issues, right? So if you think you're connecting, but the reality is you're actually pushing somebody away, your perception is distorted. And so what we want to do is to heal, right, all of the stuff around that distortion. Maybe there's traumas, maybe you've just been miswired, whatever it is, to help you heal that distortion so you can get into alignment with reality. Rather than bypassing or avoiding or being in a fantasy or in denial or just completely the result of being taught things that just aren't true. So using the body helps us find out what those objective things are, right? Because you have it on the video. You have it in your body. You could argue with it if you want, but it's really hard to when it's obvious what we're seeing on the screen. So it's a very, very powerful way to help you get out of your head, into your body, and into life, and connect with the Tao, connect with the universe, connect to spirit, connect to nature, connect with all of humanity, and be in this shared experience so your life can function at a very high level and you can be at peace. So as I'm sharing this and explaining more afterwards, as to not taint or influence your experience, what did you discover your relationship with connecting to be in this exercise, and how does that relate to how you connect in your life? How you do one thing is how you do anything. As above, so below. in the experience that you had here, connecting with yourself, connecting with the object, seeing yourself from the object, what are the parallels? What are the ways that that also shows up in your daily life? All right, so hopefully that was enough time to get some comments here and see what you guys experienced. So let's take a look. Lauren says, I experienced a very healing connection with the back of my thigh. I was disciplined here a lot as a child. Connecting was stroking this area for comfort, and a lot of those memories came flooding back. Wow. Powerful experience, feeling closure and forgiveness of this part of my body. This, Lauren, look at I just got goosebumps. Wow, look at that. That just gave me goosebumps. That is fucking awesome. Wow. I am so happy for you. Wow. That is so beautiful. I just want to read that again. That is so wonderful. I experienced a very healing connection with the back of my thigh as I was disciplined here a lot as a child. Connecting was stroking this area for comfort, and a lot of those memories came flooding back. Wow, powerful. Whew, I can feel you. I can feel you through that. That's wonderful. Powerful experience, feeling closure and forgiveness of this part of my body that way. That's really interesting that you say forgiveness. So why forgiveness? Forgiveness, like for, let's say, misbehaving and then having that pain caused to you there, or forgiving your parents. Yeah, what's that forgiveness about? That's really beautiful. Teresa says, was excited for the object to engage with me. Then when switch role, that body part was cautious to do so. Not sure if it's a good idea. Okay, all right. So you get to see that body is cautious, right? So it's perhaps not fully open, not fully trusting. If it's cautious, right, there's a certain safety thing. So we just look at this. Now, if I saw you and was with you there in person or on video, I'd be able to see and feel this stuff and give you, much better feedback. But if you just kind of rationally go into these things, cautiousness, not sure if it's a good idea, right? So there's a certain safety thing or a trust thing, maybe a control thing, a surrender thing, an intimacy thing, right? Don't know for you, but I'm just giving you some ideas, and maybe some of them might land, and see if you can explore why, and the interesting thing is why when it's reversed, when those roles were reversed. Sandy says, how do you manage to connect with those that are not connected or in their head or have intimacy issues? Are you referring to with yourself in parts of your body, or with other people, or with things? Give me a little clarification, and others. Yes, so I talk about this in the book as well too, around intimacy and vulnerability. So vulnerability is going to be the thing that we don't want to do, the thing that we want to do the least, but is going to be the very thing that creates intimacy. So anybody that struggles with intimacy, the invitation is to vulnerability. Now, that presupposes, very key point, it presupposes discernment, safety, trust, boundaries, self-respect, right? You don't want to go and be vulnerable with people that are going to abuse you, treat you poorly. You don't want to go and be vulnerable and not have good boundaries that you can set, express, and enforce. So there's a lot of prerequisites to that simple statement. But if you have those prerequisites, that's what's required. Intimacy demands vulnerability. The more you do it, the more comfortable you can get with it. It's never going to be 100% comfortable. Oh, this is a walk in a park. Oh, hello. Here's all the worst parts of me. Here's my shadow material. Come and take a look. It's never going to be 100%. However, you can become a lot more comfortable and a lot more in relationship with vulnerability and intimacy. The more you do it, the more you feel safe, the more you can surrender, the more you can relax. So it's one of these things that is very simple, right? So this has taken me 15 years to be able to articulate this so directly, so plainly, so simply. It might take you 15 years to get all of that stuff at a place to be able to get there. Now, hopefully it'll take you less, but just as an expression, you get to see that it's one of those easier said than done things. Very simple, not necessarily easy, but if you get all those pieces in place, your ability to connect with others and have that intimacy and with yourself, that's what it takes. And in that process, there might be decades or generations of trauma in order to heal and to move through, to get there. And that's okay. That's normal. This is what people don't understand. You don't just go and have like one hypnosis session and you're like, oh, great. After 50 years of abuse and neglect and trauma, oh, great. I'm fixed. Now I can connect with everybody. It just, unfortunately, just doesn't work that way. It can go a lot faster and it can be a lot more effective than what a lot of people are doing. It doesn't need to take you 15 years. But for most people, it takes some time. Is there the 1 out of 8 billion people that just wakes up? Perhaps. But we don't know their history, right? We don't know if it took them lifetimes, generations. We don't know. So putting that pressure on yourself, an expectation that you're just going to magically wake up and everything's going to be perfect, it's just not going to serve you. The better thing to serve is going into these things and facing them and feeling them. And as you heal, you will start to open more and more and more. Now you can heal very fast. This is what I tell people. It can happen very quickly. 100 things can resolve in moments. But those 100 things still have to resolve. Right? All those prerequisites that I told you for intimacy and vulnerability need to be there. You can get through that relatively quickly. It doesn't need to take a long time. But all of those things have to be there. Or what's going to happen is that those stories are going to repeat. Those cycles are going to repeat. It's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So it's important to understand that. Otherwise, these stories want to validate our suffering. And you don't want to go and just do the thing that's going to revalidate the stories and say, see, I knew it. I told you so. So that's why all of those other things are required. All right. Let me know if this is making sense. Sewell, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Sewell says, I felt less judgmental of the object after connecting with it. Great. Lauren, thank you. You are welcome. Lawrence, I think I blamed myself a lot for my behavior. It was a lot of shame that I let go. Oh, okay. Oh, shame. Yep. Self-blame. Got it. Yep. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's amazing how we get shamed by others or we shame ourselves. Yeah, it's tough. All right. Well, that looks like it's about it. Thank you, everybody. Let me... I don't know. Let me what? Let me know if there's anything else here in the comments. And we'll wrap up. You're welcome. Once again, my name is Andrew Daniel. I am the author of this book, Awaken to Your True Self, Why You're Still Stuck, and How to Break Through. If you liked the stuff we were talking about here today, everything I've been sharing about intimacy and connection, I talk about all of that stuff, plus a lot more. It's a big book. It's a big book. So if you like this stuff, recommend checking out. I'm also the director at the Center for Somatic Development, where I founded a modality called Somatics. And all of this somatic work is based off of my research and clinical work that we do there. So check that out if you're interested in that kind of stuff. If you want this replay, go to my YouTube channel, Andrew Daniel Clips, where I have clips and all of the replays. Full replays of the session will be available there. And that's it. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. See if you can find new ways to connect with yourself and others in the space around you in the coming week. Find new ways to connect. Connect in new ways. And I will see you next time. Oops. Michelle says, do you see my comment? Let me see. Let me take a look. Oh, I saw, let's see, Michelle. I saw my object offers solace. Great. Wonderful. Teresa says, your beautiful, gentle, and direct approach is appreciated. You are welcome. I'm not sure everybody would call my approach gentle. I like to think so, and I'm glad that you think that. So I appreciate that comment. Other people may think otherwise. But thank you so much for joining, guys. We will see you next week. And get out of your head and into your body. Take care.